I am Gregory Hallows, and this is Preserve Halloween Podcast. So, it's been quite a few weeks since I recorded a podcast. I have been busy with the first Preserve Halloween Festival. That was in November. And since I've gotten back from that, I pretty much have just tried to catch up on things around my house and things with my other businesses, and just kind of taking a break after that show because, as I've spoken about many times, I am an introvert, so dealing with the public on that type of scale and, planning a show and all that stuff kind of drains me. So I spent some time when I came back just kind of doing nothing and just working on things around my house and, projects and other stuff like that. But I didn't plan on it taking so long to record another podcast. It's just the holidays. This weekend, just for an example, this weekend I did two Christmases with family because we're going to be out of town during actual Christmas week. So we went ahead and did our Christmas with some of our family just so that we could get it over with and not miss it. But speaking of the Preserve Halloween Festival, I've considered how I wanted to discuss the show itself because, sometimes you run a thin line of being completely 100% honest about an event or, trying to make it the most positive side of it, only talking about the positive things. But I wanted to, be completely honest because that's what I've been trying to do with everything, since I started this whole project. And the biggest thing I think, or the most obvious thing I think, was I wish there was a bigger crowd. I think that was the biggest downside to the event, was I just wish that there was more of a crowd. And I think at any show that happens, you wish that. I think it was well planned, and I think I advertised it, with radio and television and social media ads and, any way I could think of, I advertised it. But as with most, or as with the majority of first year events, I went in with the expectation of it wasn't going to be a crazy amount of people. Like, I put on events the rest of the year that get, thousands of people. And I knew it wasn't going to be that because it was the first one, and I kind of had to explain what it was I was doing. But I wanted to put on a really good show. I had really good guests. I was very excited about the guests that I had. I got most of the people that I wanted, and they were all just, great people. I had a lot of events going on and, certain little rooms with things that keep people's interests, like, showing, old movies and having a room just for crafts and coloring and all that stuff. But I did want more of a crowd. I had an idea in my head of what the ultimate goal would be, and I didn't reach that, but I asked all the guests there, how was the show going? And everyone had nothing but good things to say, except they wish, there was more of a crowd, which I get that. And I didn't take that as a negative because I knew there was only certain things I could control, It's very hard in this industry of, putting on conventions, knowing where, you can dwell on things or be negative or, completely be, upset. Because I had a lot of people that work with me and other things kept wondering, how I was feeling and was I was I upset or was I in a bad mood? Or I was like, no, I'm excited that this thing's even happening. I planned that show for a few years, off and on. I didn't know if it would ever become a reality. And, I made it happen. So I was very excited that I could pull it off, honestly. I mean, it was one of those things where it's something I've wanted to do, and I I did it the way I wanted to do it. Um, and it was a lot of fun. Like honestly, it was just a ton of fun. I sang karaoke, which I never get to do at other events. I got to have a lot of really good one-on-one conversations with people and get their input. I really wish, I think um, probably the biggest regret that I would have for the event was I wish the vendors made more. Um, because I started out as a vendor, I know that sometimes shows just aren't busy, but I always worry, because I know that a lot of vendors, that's their livelihood and that's how they make a living. And I always worry about, how they did. But most of them understood that it was a first year show. They understood that going into it. And, you know, I think there were maybe a couple that were upset, but nothing, you know, crazy where they were angry with me. I think it was more of a in the moment thing, and I get that too. Like, if I was a vendor and I signed up for a show, and I've done this, I've gone to shows where I didn't have a huge crowd or, didn't sell a lot of stuff, and that's frustrating, but I get it. So I apologize to them for not bringing in the foot traffic that I wish I did. But like I said, that's really the only negative for me. I don't know how it was for other people, but the biggest negative for me was I wish I brought in more people. But I had a great time. I had a lot of fun. I love visiting Texas, like I say all the time. I love that venue. I love, everything about it. So much so that if you haven't noticed, I've went ahead and announced the dates for 2022. It's the same weekend as it was this year, the week before Thanksgiving. So next year it's the 18th through the 20th of November. Same location, Irving Convention Center. I just really like that convention center, and I really like the people, and I like the area, and I think it's a good central location. I haven't announced any guests yet because I'm still kind of working on a lot. Some of it I already have, and I know, but I kind of want to let this promotion that I'm running right now. So kind of a way to to boost the attendance and also, thank people for supporting me is I've offered from now until New Year's Eve. So 11:59 on December 31st is the cutoff. I'm selling weekend passes, so that's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for $20 plus, fees and taxes or whatever. But I think it comes out to just a little less than $25. But I'm selling those tickets now until then, and I may extend it, I don't know, but for right now that's the price because it's if you don't factor in the fees and things, it's less than $7 a day for a 3-day event, and I think that's a very good price. But it's my way of kind of thanking everyone for supporting me and hoping that, the people that came this year will come back. And also, the people that were curious about it, this is kind of a lower cost test, like it's not a big risk if you want to, go ahead and just buy a ticket and then see how the show plays out. I'm starting my promotions on it very early because I want to put more time into letting people know about the show, I'm going to start announcing guests probably the first of the year. I've already got quite a few lined up, like I said, and some of you that came to the show, I've talked about some of the people that I was planning on getting for 2022. So, those of you that talked to me at the event, kind of, I couldn't keep it in because I was very excited about who I'd been talking to. So I kind of, just talked a lot, which is unusual for me. But I'm excited. I'm excited to bring the show back. I do want it to be an annual event. I talked to Joe Bob Briggs quite a lot because I've known him for a few years, and I don't get a lot of chances to talk to him because he's such a busy guy. But I actually had some time to sit down and talk with him and Darcy, and he told me kind of a way I should promote the event that I didn't even think of, which, I mean, he's such a smart guy. He said, basically just promote it as the first Halloween event of the next year. So, 2022 will be the first Halloween event for 2023. And it's such a smart way to look at it because Halloween has just ended when the show happens because it's, in November. So if you think of it as, what, this isn't uh, mourning the Halloween of 2022. This is you can become the first event of Halloween for 2023, which is such a smart way to look at it. Just a positive way to look at things, and I'm gonna start using that. So I'll give him all the credit for telling me that. But it's I'm excited for next year. I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone again. I had a lot of really good conversations with some of the Halloween Preservation Society members that I had never met. I've only had talked to them online. I saw, I got to watch a couple of tattoos getting done. Sean Kama, uh, his stuff is amazing. I saw him tattoo a lot of vintage Halloween inspired work. I'm hoping he'll be back next year. He did a really good job on everything I saw, and he was busy. Like every time I walked by, his head was down tattooing, which is great. So I'm hoping he'll be back because he gets it. Like I liked that there was so many people that got what I was trying to do. You know, we didn't dwell on, well, we wish there was more people here. We're like, man, this is like a good idea. We're glad we're here at the beginning of it and, to watch it grow, which was very encouraging for me because I was just worried that everyone would be upset that, you know, that just they wish there was more people, but that's not the case. So I'm looking forward to 2022 for the event. But let me talk about a couple other things on my mind. As I was preparing to do this podcast, I got the news that Anne Rice has passed away. She did so many books, and for those people that are vampire aficionados, she's like the ultimate because her work was so great in that world. And that's not all she wrote about, but that's what she's mostly be known for. She did a lot of other types of books. I have quite a few. I do have quite a few signed books from her. At first editions, I do collect certain books, and she is definitely one of those authors that I always tried to get what she was putting out. So, rest in peace to her, and condolences to her family. Her son is the one I think that posted it, and it was kind of, I had to look and make sure I was reading it right because I didn't see a lot of posts about it when I read it, but it was posted pretty early in the morning on, I think, Sunday. So it kind of I started seeing more and more. And now, since then I've seen tons of condolences and, tribute posts and, just she was loved by so many people. And I live about 4 or so hours away from New Orleans, and you know that's her city, and you can see it in her work. If you're a person that loves the movies that uh her books were based on, you can tell how much the South meant to her, especially Louisiana. So rest in peace, Anne Rice. I hope that people continue to discover your books, forever, because they're so wonderful. Um, and we're coming towards the end of the year. I think I may do one more podcast, kind of just an end of the year recap. I was gonna do it this time, but I want to sit down and kind of take some notes. This is more off the cuff podcast like I've been doing lately, because it's a lot easier for me to sometimes just sit down and talk. And it may seem jumbled or, whatever, but it feels to me more like a conversation that I'm having sitting around talking to my friends. Because that's, the way I look at it. I'm just sitting around talking to my friends. I just don't see you. Uh, but we are coming to the end of the year. On the 21st, it will be winter solstice, which is the shortest day of the year. And, you know, I've spoken of this before. Halloween is one of those days that's considered where the time between other worlds, the veil is the thinnest. Well, winter solstice is actually the thinnest, as far as I have read, of the year. So, solstice itself means sun stands still, and us in the northern hemisphere, it's the darkest day of the year. It's the shortest. It's the shortest time-wise day of the year. So, I mean, it's already getting dark where I live at like, God, it feels like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So, I'm ready to go to sleep at like 7. But I mean, I love this time of the year because I like the changes in the weather. But I really don't understand why we can't just keep the time the same all the time. Like, I don't know why we have daylight savings time. It's kind of weird. But I always want to mention, where this time of the year, a lot of the things that people, it's not just Christmas for people. There are other things going on. Yule, which is, this is the time of the year for Yule, which is, you can trace it back to the pagan roots and, Scandinavian, German, basically it's a 12-day winter solstice. That's what Yule is. It starts on the 21st and it goes till the end of the year. A lot of the Christmas traditions from that we use now, the Christmas wreath, the Christmas tree, Yule logs, all that stuff came from Yule. But much like most holidays, it's pagan traditions that were acquired by the others. But like I said, winter solstice on December 21st this year. It's the shortest day of the year. And you can trace, history with Horus and, the Norse god Yule. I think that's how you say it, Jul. Mistletoe, all that stuff. There's such a cool history on where it came from and where, how we've incorporated it now for Christmas. Sol Invictus is a Syrian god. He, was adopted by the Romans as one of their chief gods, I think. And his holiday was celebrated on December 25th, which many other gods were around that time, not just Jesus. When the seasons changed, it's like anything else. When seasons change, back a long time ago, humans had to have a reason or some kind of explanation. Like, can you imagine being a person that had never seen a bat and then it got dark and some bats flying around? Like, you have to have an explanation for that, or I guess you'd go crazy. Um, but that's where pagans brought in mistletoe and holly and evergreen, all these things that were the power to fight off dark magic and evil, especially evergreen, because like how does it magically stay green all year? Like if you don't know the science behind that, that's a crazy like gift. Like how does this thing stay green all the time? Like that's nuts. Uh, wreaths were hung to ward off evil. It's like, you know, a lot of similar history as Halloween, like pumpkins and dressing up and all that stuff was essentially a lot of the things that we as humans have incorporated into our lives that you don't think about now was to ward off evil in the past. So I love reading about the history of holidays, and Christmas time and the end of the year has so much history involved. I mean, I posted about this on Facebook, but I always want to bring up, go look up Norse god Frigga, Sinterklaas, which is Sinterklaas, La Befana. It's a wonderful story, La Befana, the Christmas witch. You can look up Odin, Saturnalia, Horus, the Holly King, the Oak King. I mean, there's so many stories if you type in, Christmas origins or Christmas roots or whatever, some kind of keyword Google search about Christmas and its ties to the past that you may or may not already know about it. But I love history, especially the stuff that you don't always know. And a lot of us that are into this kind of stuff, we know a lot of this already. You may hear my cats crying in the background. I need to go pet them. They are used to me coming out and holding them or petting them at least once a day. So it's probably time for me to do that. So thank you all for, supporting me again, another year. Just sent out a bunch of new Halloween Preservation Society memberships for new people. I do have something up my sleeve for those who were first-year members who signed on for a second year. I've got a package for you guys that should be going out hopefully early 2022. I'm not going to say what it is. There's a couple of you that know, like Rich Smith. I talked to him about it at the festival, so he knows, but I don't think I've told anybody else. Anyway, I could ramble on and on for hours. You guys know that. I'm going to go ahead and sign off and go take care of my cats, and I hope everyone is having a wonderful holiday. I will do at least one more podcast, I believe, because I am going to have a couple weeks of very busy time. But as I always say, preserve Halloween.